This is your invitation to Lawntrepreneur Academy Live 2023 in Novi, Michigan, Saturday, November 11th. The lineup is power-packed. You won't want to miss it. Learn from incredible speakers like Leroy Maines, Keith Kalfas, Caleb and Brittany Allman, Sam Gimble, Weston Zimmerman, and Jeff Joyner, just to name a few. Tickets are on sale now at the early bird registration price of $197. And hurry, because seating is limited to just 300. Now through August 31st, purchase the whole ball of wax and receive a free ticket to LAL 2023, a $200 value. Once you purchase your ticket, you'll be added to our private Facebook group, where you can network with other attendees, get access to the discounted hotel room block, and get the inside scoop for the Friday night party, brought to you by Kohler. Thank you to this year's sponsors, Exmark, Sure Track Trailers, Yard Book, and Boss Snowplow for helping to bring this incredible event to life. We can't wait to see you November 11th, Novi, Michigan, at Lawntrepreneur Academy Live 2023. Get your ticket today at lawntrepreneur.academy.com or use the link in the podcast description. Lawntrepreneur Academy Live.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here, hanging with you guys, and good morning. Welcome back to the jungle. Guys, on our podcast, it's all about lawns, lessons, life, helping you guys grow a more successful lawn and landscaping business. Half the podcast episodes are guest interviews. Half of them are solo shows where I try to give you guys some thought process to maybe help you guys win. Today, super honored to have a guest on the podcast for you today. We got my boy, Joe, what is it? One more time. Maligisi?
Maligisi, yep.
Maligisi. All right, there you go. Is that Italian, or what's the background there, brother?
Yeah, that's 100% Italian right there.
That's bread and pasta for dinner tonight, man. That's good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Funny story. We for what was it? Our wedding pre-dinner, what do they call that? The rehearsal. We have a really good place over here. If you guys are coming up to Launchpreneur Academy Live, we built a little like itinerary. If you guys are in the Facebook group, we give you guys like some places to go, check out, some places to eat, visit, some landmarks, all that mess. There's a place called Massiano's, and that's an Italian little restaurant, hole in the wall place, right next to a Lover's Lane. So I told Liz it's like a perfect date night spot. Go get dinner and whatever else you might need, and that's your Friday night. But if you guys come up here, really good place to go is Mazzano's. So if you guys are looking for Italian, it might even make Joe blush. You know what I mean? So it's
exactly.
It's our favorite place to go, man, for Italian. But we're not talking totally today about Italian food and Italian and all that. But unless you want to, I don't know. But I'm a little bit of a foodie. But we actually been chatting back and forth. I'm big excited about getting you on the podcast, man. You guys got some things blowing up over there in Connecticut, man. So really excited about having you on. You actually had some surgery like recently with your shoulder, so it's been a crazy couple of days for you, man. So let's get into it, man. You want to give them like a 2-minute kind of background on who you are and where you're coming from?
Yeah, so thanks for having me on. But yeah, so we're located out in Norwalk, Connecticut. So all of Fairfield County, we service out in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And so we started a business. My dad started it part-time, 2008. The business name is A+ Ornamental and Turf Specialist. He started it part-time, 2008. Did it as like a weekend thing. He would just go out fertilizing a couple houses. He owned a business prior to that, Maligisi Landscaping, that he started when he was like 19 years old in 1987, and he shut it down in 2001. So he was doing full service, same thing that we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went part-time. Me and my brother, we grew up in the landscape industry. We worked for other various companies over the years, and we always knew we wanted to tag team on. We wanted to grow my dad's business because I could tell my dad was kind of like, he never liked going back and working for someone. And I would feel the same way after you're working for yourself for all those years. Then you ultimately decide to sell or close your business. You're like, man, now I got to go back to just a regular day in the mill.
Mm-hmm.
So we took it on about in 2021. So this is going on our third season full time. And in our first year, we tanked the business big time. We went in we started out with, my dad had a shop that he let us come in rent free just to get us up and going. We had a dump truck, pickup truck, and we were like, oh man, we got no debt. We got a good amount of starting up stuff. And it was just like, it just, jobs weren't priced right. We got in over our head. And first year was tough, definitely scary. Second year, ironed out our kinks. We figured out systems, put them in play. I started listening to podcasts, and I started watching Brian's on maintenance. So that did a big 180. I went to my brother that winter actually, and I'm like, dude, we got to start listening to this guy.
There's a funny story in there too. We got to catch up on that story too later. So
yeah. So I'll sum it up quickly. So then my brother goes, "Why would you listen to Brian's on maintenance? He's just a small guy with only one other guy mowing and blowing." I'm like, "Yeah, but he's got good advice, dude."
Yeah, right. He's making money, is what you said. That's like he's got new trucks. He's like all of our stuff is making no money.
Exactly. I'm like, dude, come on. I'm like, you gotta give credit where credit's due. So, and my brother had that mindset, like he's wired all big. So second year, we ironed it out. We got completely out of debt. We were relying on credit cards, which is a terrible thing to do. So we got out of debt completely, and we just started reinvesting from there. We killed it. We went from year one, 250,000 to last year we ended at 750, and this year we're projecting $1 million.
Wow.
So
wow.
So and yeah, we're out of debt. I mean, we have like truck payments and stuff, but it's controlled debt. I look at it as like you always want tax deductions. You want to reinvest in the company, but no credit card debt. I'm not like freaking out every month when I have to pay something, or if a mower belt breaks. Oh my God, that's $50. I got to go pay. It's still like that, but it's more controlled. You know, you can't. Yeah.
Then that makes sense. And one thing that there's a lot of stuff that we could talk in, because we did a coaching call, and it was a really, really good conversation. We talked a little bit about everything, but the cool thing that you guys have going on 4 years now, or 5 years, you were saying?
Yeah, so this is going into year 3 full time, but yeah, since 2008 we've been open.
Yeah,
but full time 3 years.
So last 3-4 years, but a lot of growth, but a lot of defining each other's roles. You know, your brother, I think even your dad might be working again for you guys. Isn't that right?
Yep.
Okay,
yep, he's back with us.
So why don't you take it back from the beginning, like where you guys were excited and why you guys got started? I always like to cover that on every guest interview that we do, because it's always different for everybody. And you know, yeah, I understand 75% of us were like the teenager, 13-year-old wanted to make some extra cash to go buy fireworks. I get that. But
exactly.
But you know, like, but that's really important that to my story and to your guys' story. I don't want to gloss over that. Like, it's just as important and to me why you guys got started as it is for me sharing about why I got started. So do me a solid, like talk about that for a quick minute. But then I want to know how you guys started to grow this thing. And then you guys were not really hitting your stride. I remember you were saying on the call, because you guys had a bunch of different thoughts about how to do this thing, and strengths and weaknesses with you and your brothers and personalities. So like, let's start from the beginning, man. Take it from the top. How did you guys get going in all this?
Yeah. So it was, like I said, when my dad sold, I was very young. So I'm only 22. I was like not even a year when he sold. And it sucked because growing up, like, I always knew my dad did landscaping, seeing him rake fill a yard with leaves, cut the grass, this and that. It was always cool to me. Machines always interested me and my brother. And I don't know exactly when, but I just remember my brother always growing up. It was like every other sentence out of his mouth was, I'm going to own my own landscaping business growing up. I'm going to get dad back on board. So he was more motivated than me when we were kids. And I'm like, whatever. I like equipment. I like the shiny stuff. I'll do that. I'll be a mechanic. So then it started off I was like 12 years old. And my brother just started working at this plant nursery, down the road from us. And, he was all excited dealing with plants, this and that. He's like, dude, they hire at 14. Like, you should start working in a couple years. I'm like, nah, I'm not getting into landscaping. Nah. So before that, he had a couple like part-time customers that he would mow and blow here and there, like family friends. So I'm 12 years old, wanting to play video games. My brother's like, I make like $100 a week doing this. You want to do it? I'm like, fun. I'll do it. I'll go push mow.
Sure.
So I was doing that just to pay my video games. Just the regular startup story. You get a push mower, you get a weed whacker. My grandma bought me a mower and a weed whacker, and I was in business. It was one of those self-propelled. So I would actually stand on the deck because I was so light, and I would hold the handlebars going up this one hill, so the mower would self-propel me up. It was like a little push mower.
Hey, man, whatever works. That's awesome.
That's how I got around. So then I started at this nursery when I was 14, and I worked there till I graduated high school, and I worked on their landscape crew, and then I found my love with that. And it wasn't even just the labor. I was working with great people. Like my foreman was awesome. My bosses there, they were amazing. And they refer us to this day for business. We go in there, buy material. We got such a good family relationship with them. And that turned me on to the industry, seeing this is hard labor. It sucks in the rain. It sucks in the heat. It sucks in the cold. But I don't know. There's some sort of guilty pleasure there, being around people that enjoy doing what you're doing.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Well, that's awesome, dude. That's all. So then you guys really decided to make a go of this thing the last couple of years. How did that transition work?
Yeah. So my brother, he, like I said, he knew that he was going to get into it. And we were talking about it with my dad all the time. When we're out of college, we're going to take it over. So my brother's 3 years older than me. So he graduated in, I think 2019 or 2020, he graduated college.
Mm-hmm.
So, he worked for another landscaper. That was one of my dad's close friends growing up. And my brother learned under him, then went on his own 2021. I was still in college. I was going for my associate's degree for automotive. And I was in between, do I want to go back for 2 more years? Or I want to just go and work this and that. And originally I said to my brother, when you're at year 3 in business, then I'll come on board. That was the plan. So this year was realistically when I should have came on board.
Okay.
But it didn't work out like that. So because he went into it headstrong, hey, I'm good, I'm ready to roll this and that. He had 2 guys starting out with him, and he got really good leads. He got all this work coming in, but it wasn't priced right. He didn't know his numbers. He didn't know, by the way, you got to pay insurance on your trucks. You got to pay insurance on just general insurance, so the rent insurance on your guys for workers' comp, all this other stuff, even taxes, sales tax at the end of the month. You got to pay that every month. Your gas bill, your credit cards, just BS stuff that pops up. So he didn't know what he should have been charging at that time. He just kind of went into it doing that after work hour thing, you do it as a side cash. So he went into it thinking it was like that. And we learned quickly that wasn't the case. So we did all this work, and when you go to pay the a month and you're we only have 20 grand in the bank account, but there's 40 grand owed out, or 40 grand out in material, it's where did we go wrong here?
You sure?
So that was,
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Well, no. But I just remember you saying he was really good at install work, plant material type, landscaping, artistic, really good at that. Just not, and that happens, bro. Some people are more detailed, some people are more front of the house, some people more back of the house. It depends. But were you thinking about coming on board at the time with the company, or were you just waiting for your brother to implode, or and then say, I told you so? What was the family dynamic? I'm just talking frank, bro.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, I knew I was going to come on board, but I was I don't know if this sounds good or bad. I was good, I was going to let my brother do the grunt work of it. That's why I said, by year 3, I was going to wait till I was out of college, till he had kind of a foundation, just because I didn't want to come on board and rain in on his parade, because he knew the landscape installation side way better than I could. I knew how to mow and blow at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know as much, even though I did landscaping jobs and I can install. If he says, hey, these plants are going there, I can do it probably the same way he can do it. But I don't know how to design it. I don't know how to sell it. So I kind of let him do his thing. And then when I got out of school for the summer, I was like, I'm not going back to college for 2 more years. I'm seeing my brother. He's coming home at 8 o'clock every night. He's leaving at 5 a.m. every morning. It's even just the guys, you're working with those guys. You're beating the hell out of them the first season in business. They're not going to want to come back. They want something more controlled. Your guys are never going to be as invested as you are into the business at the end of the day.
Sure.
So it was like just seeing that, and then the toll it was taking on my dad, because you got to remember everything's in my dad's name. Like my dad is like, if this fails, it's not like it affects my brother, but it's all going to impact on my dad's credit. It's all going to impact on him. And he's like, you know, you don't want him to have that fear as well. Like, oh, do I have to remortgage my house? Do I have to do this? Do I have to sell stuff that I worked hard to get to make sure my son stays afloat? And that shouldn't be my dad's responsibility. Like, it's our decision to go full time. So I saw him struggling, and I would like give him suggestions. Like, why can't you just set schedules? Why can't you just plan jobs like this instead of like that? And he's like, you don't get it. You don't get it. I'm like, okay, so why don't you give me a chance to understand? Why don't I come on board with you? And at first, my dad's like, no, just let him do his thing. Don't go on board with him. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm like, he's struggling. I can't see my brother have a heart attack by 25. So I came on board, and first season, it was rough. It was kind of like big brother, younger brother type stuff. So it was like, he's telling me what to do. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't make sense. And he's like, I don't care. Just do it. So when I saw, like, when I got more involved in the back end, and I'm seeing how we're losing money and how things aren't priced right, and I'm like going back and forth, and I'm like, dude, I think we should do this. And as an older brother, it's tough hearing that from your younger brother, because I get it in his mindset. He's like, he's telling me what to do. He doesn't understand. But in my mindset, I'm like, but I'm looking at the numbers. It doesn't matter how old I am. I'm telling you, like, this is what makes sense. So we had a rough first year. It was definitely tough. But we both had like that conversation. We always talked about it. Like, we're gonna get past this. We're gonna get past this. And I told him, I was like, at the end of the year, it was like December. I'm like, dude, we're finishing the year. I'm like, we need to sit down and kind of, we're running this together, but we kind of need to have someone who's in charge. And it ain't going to be dad, because dad just wants to kind of sit back. He's tired. He doesn't want to grow another company. That's our job.
Sure.
You know, he's done it. He's shot, which is fine. I want my dad to kind of start easing back, but I don't want him to be stressed out, or are they going to sink it into the ground? That was my fear. So me and my brother, I that's when I started listening to your podcast, and I was just listening to business ideas. Just I wanted to hear other people's experience, and specifically other people in the landscape industry's experience. You know, so I came up with systems. I came up with better bidding ideas, and even just like consistent overhead. I came up with a monthly plan. Like, dude, this is how much we spend compared to from last year's going into this year's. Like, this is what we're projected to spend. So me and my brother, we had to sit down, and he's like, all right, you can run the business your way this year. And I told him, I'm like, you ran it last year the way you did. It didn't work. You know, we got to admit that it did not work. Let me try this year. Let me just follow my lead. We're running this together. But if I say something, just put your input, but kind of let me fail. I let you fail. Let me fail.
There you go. So
we went through that, and he saw quickly. I don't want to just be like, oh, all the money came in, because remember, we were paying a lot of debt. But he saw that our workload kind of increased. We were able to hire more guys. We were able to reinvest more money into the business. And we got out of debt. That was the biggest thing. And when he saw that, I remember I said to him in the beginning of the year, I'm like, let's not even talk mid-season. Just tell me at the end of the year. Be like, did it work or did it not work? And it was like 2 months into the season. We had all debt paid off, and we were putting like half down on our new dump truck that we bought. And I was like going into that dealership with like cash in hand to pay for this thing. And I'm like, did it work or did it not work?
That's
and he's like,
awesome.
No, it worked. Keep doing what you're doing.
That's awesome. Well, okay. So quick timeout. Because this is like an exciting story. So give me, like, if you don't mind, like, help these guys that are, hey, I'm in business with my brother. We've been hitting it for a couple years. We don't have the money in the bank like we thought we should. Whether somebody's pulling the e-brake and saying, hey man, things got to change. Maybe they just know, and they just haven't said it, or they're internalizing it and they haven't like put pen to paper. So not like this huge epiphany moment, but give me like 1 or 2 or 3 practical things you guys started to do. And I don't care if it's like, dude, we just never charge for fuel. I don't care if it's like big deal stuff or little deal stuff. I don't care. Like, growth is growth, progress is progress. What's some things that you guys did to make some more money? What are some things you guys did? Because I don't do as much landscaping, as admittedly. So, I'm learning from you guys. You know what I mean? Like, What did you guys practically do to make more money on the landscape? You guys were already doing the work. You already had work ethic.
Yep.
Now you just had to sharpen the pencil and put a little bit of some math behind the business. That seemed like you brought that a little bit more to the table. So give us some glaring examples or some low-hanging fruit, or what did you guys try to focus on?
Since 1982, Exmark has been dedicated to building the world's finest mowers. These machines provide you with a quality of cut that seems impossible, dependability you can measure in lifetimes, and an operator experience like none other. Because Exmark believes if something's worth doing, it's worth doing right. Visit your local dealer to discover a one-of-a-kind ownership experience and see the difference for yourself.
When it comes to running a lawn and landscape business, there's always something to worry about. Are my drivers and crews doing their job? Are my clients happy? Are my trucks and machines safe? How can I make more money? Where can I save some money? With GPS Track It, you don't have to worry about it, because our software gives you a level of clarity and control over your business that you've never had. From real-time vehicle and asset tracking and optimized routing to efficiency reports and more, reach your fullest business potential. Call 866-845-1410 or visit gpstrackit.com/BrianLM to get started. That phone number and special link are in the show description. GPS Track It.
So I created a monthly overhead sheet that basically you got to factor, like, you're only working like 22 days out of the month out of 31 days, just like 22 or 24, whatever number it is, exclude weekends. But so I took the lower number, 22 days is what I go off of, and I divided that by my average monthly overhead. And that determined, honestly, what I should have been charging per guy. And that gave me a good insight of that what my hourly rate was to what it should be. And then even with landscape jobs, a good rule of thumb is I know people in my area do this. I don't know about others. Like, I'm not too familiarized with the landscape industry in other states, but we do 3 times installed the base cost of the plant. So that's digging the hole. You go buy the plant, say it's $15. You're selling it for $45. That's digging a hole, throwing the plant in, warranting it for 1 season. If you're putting soil, that's extra. If you're putting mulch, that's extra. You're putting fertilizer, whatever you're doing. Even if you got to rip out something, that's all additional labor. So when we ironed that out, and it was just that base price for installed warranty and then anything else, we saw that when we would do jobs, it would average out to a lot better of a profit, and it would cover that overhead for the day. And then also another thing, like, I didn't know, and I'll stress this to a lot of people, when you go into business, it's kind of like, I feel some people, they don't do a good job at like you can go and ask people for advice. They won't give you a good insight of, this is what you're going to come across of. You even just got to factor in at the end of the month, there's going to be some BS fee. You're going to pay workers' comp. You're going to pay, I don't know, a $5,000 engine on a vehicle. So you kind of want to strategically plan out what's the worst case. Don't always plan the best case scenario. That sounds like negative, but in this industry, I feel you always got to plan the worst case.
We'll have that fudge factor. I know a lot of people talk about that, just having a little bit of extra margin. Caleb Allman was doing a great podcast just a couple episodes ago, like 2 or 3 ago, and he was saying, like, hey, if 1 out of every 4 jobs goes haywire, then pad stats for the other 3 jobs, because you never know which job is which, and then you always have your break even. So he wasn't saying this part, but add a couple labor hours, add a couple percentage for materials, or you lose a shovel. I don't know, or you run over a shovel every other 10th job, or you forget a shovel on a job site. We did a $2,600 mulch install once. We lost a leaf blower, and I'm like, well, there goes like half of the profit of the damn job. I'm like, that's so stupid. And that was a major learning lesson for all my guys. I'm like, everything gets re-racked, man, like at the end of a job. No, and double checked and triple checked, obviously, and things happen. But no, that's really, so you got a system of figuring out a budget. Seems like you guys were, whether it's like a day-to-day thing or not, that's fine. But you had a macro realization on your business about what we need to generate per day and per man hour. And that's a great starting point to running a successful business. You have to generate revenue. I know it sounds so weird and so easy and so numbingly to say, but I talk about that in the book 0 to 100K. It's one of the best chapters, is it's all about production. Like if you're not producing revenue, you can't get the profit until you actually have the revenue come on in. And so many guys that want to get 100K in revenue, like, I just can't get there. And I'm like, well, you're not producing enough. They're like, how do I produce enough? I'm like, you have to get your man hour rate up, and you also have to get more hours churning in the business. Whether it's you and 2 guys, you and 3 guys, you and 4 guys, like it's just a simple math equation. You have to get more money coming in at a higher rate, higher skill set, and more of it. It's very, very simple. After that, you just have to be better at managing the cash on hand, your accounts payables, your overhead, your debt, all that kind of fun stuff. And it seems like you were bringing a lot of that mindset to the business more so than your brother was.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why even like another point to that was even, like I told him, like we were doing a lot of hourly rate. I'm like, dude, there's certain things like people are looking at it as, oh, it's like you pulled up to my property at 8:30, but you started charging me at 8. It's like, yeah, well, I charge travel time. So to avoid, I started realizing when we did flat rate billing, here's the price, no matter what happens, whether I use over material, under, it's the price. Like, you obviously don't tell the customer that, but you have like a number in your head. But when we started doing that, I noticed it was a lot less BS that you're dealing with. And that was another thing me and my brother went back and forth. He's like, oh, if you itemize it, you get less questions. I realized that if you do a flat rate, you say, this is how much in material, this is how much in labor. Not like 3 days, not 8 hours, nothing. You just say this much.
Yeah.
You got less questions.
I did a video on that, bro, 3-4 years ago. I don't know if you guys saw that one. And I said the same thing. It's like mulch installation, quantity 1, $16.95. Now, you can put in the description if you want. I wouldn't even encourage this, but if you want, if the customer wants a breakdown, hey, 13 yards of mulch, bed edging, and you put down some weed preventer, whatever you guys do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. But like, bro, I wouldn't even do that. People used to do mulch installation, quantity 16 at $110 a yard, and then you got customers nickel and diming you going $110 or $120, and some guys, I do it for $150, whatever. Just catch the concept. But like you're buying it wholesale for $25 to $45 depending on your market. And like now you got this whole awkward conversation with the customer. They're like, hey man, $50, I can get it at site 1. And why don't I just charge you guys just charge me labor? You're like, bro, like Outback doesn't just charge you labor to cook your steak. Like it doesn't work like that. Your Victoria filet that's, $14.99. They bought it for $4, okay, from Cisco or whatever, or Dylan Stevenson was hauling that stuff in back in the day at Gordon Foods. So that's little helpful tips there.
Yeah, and it sucks because it's like if you don't have a yard, and like we have a nice yard, but we can't store material here. Like there's just no room for that. If you tell a customer, hey, I'm expecting to use 8 yards of mulch, and then you actually only use 6. You can't go return that other 2, and you have nowhere to store that other 2, unless you have a job back to back. But it's just not worth it. It's like you had to pay a guy to go get that. Now you got to pay a guy to get rid of it. I'm like, and you had to pay for it. You had to pay for that extra 2 yards. It's not worth it, And it may sound shady, like, oh, just give a flat rate number, but it's really not. That's just the cost of business. You go to McDonald's, and like you said, like with steak. If you go to McDonald's and you buy a burger for $3-4, you're not going to be like, well, why is it $3-4? How much is the bun? How much is the burger? How much is the ketchup?
Nobody does that.
That's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a conversation anywhere else, but when you're a landscaper and, it's like, oh my God, now you got to be a transparent open book about what you're charging for your materials, what you're charging for your labor. People want to, 90 line itemed, and you're like, dude. And there's an element of having that conversation with the customer to educate them if you need to be. So I'm not, saying just go from one ditch to the other, but at the same point, like I don't know any other industry that works that way. I mean, maybe contractors, generally speaking, but I've never heard anybody say, man, I ordered a deck, but the guy charged me. Can you believe he charged me $4.95 a 2x4 and he's buying them for $2.75? That's insane. Like that's never a thing, bro. It's never been a thing. I mean, I don't know, but let me ask you this really quick. We got about like 2 or 3 quick minutes left because I got a 3 o'clock here I got to run to. But I'm loving our conversation. It seems like you guys have a lot of great stuff going on. You've really caught your stride. So now that you guys are working well together and you got this synergy going from you, your brother, I think you have like, what you said, 5, 6, 7 full-time guys now. Like you got a good out.
We got 5 guys full time.
Five guys full time. It sounds like you got a great team going. You were just saying before we jumped on the podcast and I hit record that you had some shoulder surgery, but the guys are out there crushing it today in 101 degree heat or something and just holding down the fort for you. And they're like, dude, we got your back. Like, that's a great sign of a great company, great culture, great leader. So where do you guys go from here with you and your brother? What's the ambition? Are you guys getting bigger? Are you happy with where you're at? And then, any final takeaways you want to leave these guys while we got you?
Yeah, no. So we're going. We're constantly reinvesting. Now, I always encourage, you got to have money in your savings. Like I told you, like I have a general rule of thumb of how much I want to put away at the end of the year. Like my gross amount, what I net for the year. There's a certain percentage of that. I go off of like, you can have 10 to 15% of that money saved. Not in your bank account, not in your checking, like in your savings. If you could save like 15% of what you do for the whole year, because obviously that sounds like a low number, but you got to remember you got payroll that out of that whole chunk. You have material, all this other stuff you spend. Mm-hmm. You can just have like some sort of budget that fits within your ideology with any business. Hey, I want to save this much money, not just, oh, this is in my checkings. Oh, I got that money, whatever. Like that, put that towards maybe a shop one day. Put that towards a new truck. Maybe put that towards paying off the truck. Whatever it is, put that even for just a reserve. It's nice to know that money is not, I don't want to say my money, it's the business's money that is either, it's there for, it's like, it's a rainbow of opportunities that you could use. You could use it for anything you want. And I just love that, like, we're structuring for from year one, we didn't have that. Last year, like I said, we invested. This year, we're structuring like, all right, this is for reserve, for a shop in 5 years from now, a bigger yard, whatever, truck. And I like that because at the end of the day, it's like you feel a lot more secure like that. You feel like an actual business that if something were to happen, like you can get by. And yeah, no, we're still growing. We're looking to hire a couple more guys. We're just kind of like, this year we're trying to be stagnant because this year I feel was like really getting our systems in place and our financials in order. Like, so this year I'm trying to have like kind of like a stagnant growing year. I want to sustain what we did last year, but obviously we still grew it another quarter. And it's a nice feeling all that. We bought another truck. We actually bought 2 trucks this year and more equipment.
Yeah.
So it's always awesome to reinvest. Next year, hopefully we can have a couple more guys, and I'm actually gearing towards starting another crew. But that's going to come in time. It just comes down to the training. I got a couple guys that are dynamite when it comes to weeding and pruning. And if I can just gear towards getting them on the road, and I don't have to worry about it, and I could just have a set mowing crew, weeding, pruning crew, landscape crew, and a fertilizing crew. Dude, 4 or 5 crews, I'm in a sweet spot.
That's good. Yeah.
For now, it's gonna probably keep going, but it's controlled growth.
That's the great thing about what you just said. It's controlled growth. It's predictable growth. Like, you guys aren't just making stuff up, and you guys have you guys have the first couple years making stuff up, throwing caution to the wind, cowboying it, and that's, dude, we've all been there. I did it for a decade. Okay, like I'm the biggest sinner of all of that. So. But at the end of the day, like, and we talked to you guys at length on all the podcasts, it's not just obviously making stuff up. That's not how you run a real business. And it's one of the easiest industries to get into, to just, throw down some mulch on the side. If you're a firefighter or a teacher, or you could be in corporate America and have like 15 mowing accounts on the side. I talk to people all the time. I got a guy, he's an airline pilot, wants to start a lawn landscape company. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. He's like, I got 20 accounts on the side. I'm like, that's awesome. I said, is it going to replace an airline pilot income in, the first 4 or 5 years? Probably not. Are you going to have to grow to probably $1 million company and have 7 guys working for you to net 150, 200 grand to have a lateral on your lifestyle? Probably. But it doesn't mean that you can't approach the business with a business mindset to grow and run it by the numbers. It's a business. It's a business. It's a business. Like, and I don't know anybody else that gets started in the other industry that just makes stuff up. I mean, besides maybe like real estate professionals, because they just think like you sell a home, you get 6%, and it's like you make 12 grand on a sale. It's like, bro, you're making a third of that take home after all your investments. But it's like, it's a business. It takes money. You got to run it by the numbers. You guys are a great example of that this last 12, 18 months, kind of righting the ship. So, bro, I'm again, I always say on these guest interviews, I'm your guys' biggest fans. I'm so pumped for you, man. I know you guys have been, it's blood, sweat, tears. It's awkward conversations. It's pulling teeth. It's doing the hard things that not everybody knows. And I'm sure there's 100 other examples of things that you guys are doing and sacrifices that you've had to make to get here. But bro, I'm pumped for you guys, man. It's seems like nothing but a good, solid growth curve from here forward. And I just wish you guys nothing but continued success, brother.
Thanks, man. If there's anything anyone should take away from this podcast, Brian, you saved my business. Just take that away. Everyone, I don't care if it looks like, because my brother said it, oh, he's just a small guy with a couple of guys and one truck, Doesn't matter. I listened to his advice and I put it into play.
Hey,
that's irrelevant. I don't care
that.
if you're 50,000 or $1 million.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, hey, we're sucking wind at $400,000, and we'll make 25% on that, and on the side we'll run our media company and just suck wind at that too. So we're feeling our way to the top, just like all of you guys, man. But no, things are good. And my favorite thing just the other day was somebody commented on the Tom Maggs YouTube video that I did. I don't know if you saw that one. He's a 19-year-old kid doing $1 million.
Yep, I saw it.
Well, I titled it 19-year-old does $500,000. He's actually doing $1 million with his business. But I was like, oh my gosh, if I put that, we're going to get totally flamed out on YouTube, because it's going to challenge it. It's going to challenge everybody's, soft ego out there on the platform. And people just can't stomach that a 19-year-old is doing $1 million. And I said, one of my favorite comments, my last comment and takeaway was a Nepo baby highlighting another Nepo baby. These kids are all fake or something like that. And I was like, oh yeah, dude, it's nothing but nepotism here. I'm like, Tom Maggs didn't get a dime from his parents. I haven't got a dime from anybody ever, but yeah, it's a Nepo. Yep. I had to ask Liz, I'm like, what the hell's a Nepo baby? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's nothing but family, daddy's money, begetting daddy's money. I'm like, dude, if you've watched any of our content for more than 12 seconds, you realize nothing here has been given. Everything has been earned. Oh, you get a free mower once in a while. I'm like, that has been earned way more. In fact, I feel like we should get 10 free mowers and quote unquote. And you know what? I'd give half of them away. That's where my heart's at. But it's just wild, man. It's always, you got to put in the dues. You got to run it like a real business. You got to make money, dude. And I'll give you one quick correction. We didn't save your business. We gave you the tools to save your business. You and your brother went out and saved your own business, brother. Because I can't do it for you guys. I can lead a horse to water and give you all the best info, but you guys have to implement and apply these things to grow, man. So I just want to say, back at you, man, with you guys saved your company and turned things around, man. And you guys own that win, because that is your win for you guys to have under your belt, part of your story, man. So that's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. You got awesome advice and everything you share. No, it's amazing.
Thanks, man.
Amazing what if people listen, what they can achieve, right?
Dude, you kidding me? Like I said, you're 23, 24, and
22, yeah,
22, crushing this stuff, man. And you guys motivate the snot out of me, man. It makes me want to go buy another truck and go add another crew. And we're hanging out here. We're like, we'll grow. We're growing. It's all good. No big deal.
Congrats. I saw the video last night. Yeah, you just you said you were getting a new F-350.
Yeah, we're growing. I mean, we have to. I don't even talk about what we're doing anymore. I don't even care. Nobody cares. I'm just like, hey, I'd rather have you guys on. You guys are way more excited anyway. And again, if I say we're growing, like, it's like, grow. Like, what does that even mean? Like, I get thrown under the bus so fast, and I'm just like, from the YouTube haters, and I'm just like, bro, why can't I grow? And you know what? If I get to $1 million in revenue and 3 crews and 6 trucks, there's still going to be somebody complaining about how we got there, just like anybody else. But I got a great message I'm actually crafting at Launchpreneur Academy Live, talking about all this. It won't be recorded. It won't be shared. It'll be a power pack speech. I got a 30-minute talk that I've been working on for about 2 years, that I'm going to be delivering some thoughts about this whole conversation. And it will change your life. I guarantee it, because I've got some pretty deep things to say. So if you guys come to LAL, you will get that speech about not caring what other people think. I've got a 5 to 6 year case study and photos that I've been saving about told you so's, basically. And I'm gonna prove it, that you can change your stars, and who cares what other people think. And people sit on the sidelines, why you shouldn't listen to them anyway. But you got to come to LAL for that one, man. That'll be a banger. But and a lot of you guys are, man, get your ticket now, because they're selling like crazy. So but anyway, dude, that's all I got, man. I just want to say thanks for jumping on the podcast, bro. I know you got a busy day. Are you guys on social media? Like, where can people find you? Are you on Instagram or Facebook and all that mess?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram. They can look us up at A+ or A +_turf_ornamental.
Okay.
There's a lot of underscores there.
Yeah.
But we post frequently to the Instagram, and obviously we got a website. They can look up A+ornamental at A+ornamental.com. Sorry, I was gonna say my email.
Yeah.
But A+ornamental at Gmail is my email. If anyone wants to email us,
reach out, say hey.
So,
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you guys going to be at Equip Expo or anything like that by chance? Not to put
we're definitely planning on going to Equip. LAL, I'm still ironing out the details. I really want to go. It's just I'm revolving. I have two other partners. I know my brother's going away. I think I mentioned that to you. He planned a big hunting trip.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, I want to go to LAL though. And they even my brother wants to go, but it fell on that weekend. But yeah, if not, it's probably just going to be me and my dad, which is still fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we want to come. Definitely.
No,
I want to hear.
All good either which way. We'll take it if you guys go. If you don't, no big deal. But if you guys are going to Equip, I know most people. It's like you try to at least everybody tries to get to Equip, and then we get a tenth of the people that come to LAL, which is totally fine, totally awesome. But yeah, I was gonna say if you guys are at Equip, man, make sure you flag me down, shoot me a message, and we'll definitely link up so I can say high five in public or in person, I should say, and get to put a face to the name, man. I always love meeting you guys after the fact, and you get to make all these friends with social media, like for years sometimes before you get to meet up in person. So if you, your brother, your dad all come on down there, man, you got to say hey from the A+ team, man. So I can't wait to see you guys in person at Equip. Yeah,
thanks, man. And same here. And if we don't go to LAL, hold it against me. I'll definitely be there next year. So
dude, 100%.
Just you'll be a text, be like, hey, you didn't go last year. You better be there this year.
November 12th, I'll send you an invoice. I'll be like, all right, let's get your tickets locked in for next year.
Yeah, even if I don't come, just keep invoicing me. Just be like,
no. Well, now that I got your email, it'll come later this afternoon. I'll PayPal it to you, so.
Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
Oh, that's funny. No, all good. All right, man. Well, that's what I got. If you guys need anything else in the meantime, man, shoot us an email. Say hey. Don't be a stranger, man. But for all of you guys also listening in, man, we appreciate you guys listening in. Just another great success story, making it happen with Joe and his whole family. Like, they're just crushing it over there in Connecticut. And I just want to get them on the podcast today. And we've been trying to lock this down for a couple of weeks ago. We did a coaching call, and I said, dude, you got an awesome story. I said, you got to share this enthusiasm with our audience. He's like, dude, I would love to. A lot of pain, a lot of gain, through this whole process. And Joe did a banger job on this one as well. So that's what I got for you guys on today's podcast and today's episode. Let's kick it back over to Marty, Mr. Producer, to kind of cut back with the show sponsors, announcements, get you guys all the latest and greatest that we've got going on. Equip Expo tickets, 50% off code Brian. And then also LAL tickets. They are on sale at entrepreneuracademy.com/store. They're $197. We got like 140 registrations. We cannot wait to have you guys here. The goal is 300. We're selling crazy fast, guys. Like 25% plus more ticket sales this year over last year. Excitingly grateful and super enthusiastic and excited about all that, as you guys can imagine. So I cannot wait to host as many of y'all here with the best speakers that we can get in the whole biz to show you guys how to grow a more successful lawn care business. So let's kick it back over to Marty, Mr. Producer, guys, and we will catch up with you here on the next one.
When it comes to running a lawn and landscape business, there's always something to worry about. Are my drivers and crews doing their job? Are my clients happy? Are my trucks and machines safe? How can I make more money? Where can I save some money? With GPS Track It, you don't have to worry about it, because our software gives you a level of clarity and control over your business that you've never had. From real-time vehicle and asset tracking and optimized routing to efficiency reports and more, reach your fullest business potential. Call 866-845-1410 or visit gpstrackit.com/BrianLM to get started. That phone number and special link are in the show description. GPS Track It.
Since 1982, Exmark has been dedicated to building the world's finest mowers. These machines provide you with a quality of cut that seems impossible, dependability you can measure in lifetimes, and an operator experience like none other. Because Exmark believes if something's worth doing, it's worth doing right. Visit your local dealer to discover a one-of-a-kind ownership experience and see the difference for yourself.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.